how do British judges make it clear that
someone's going to the chair?
Or no, that a point is sort of concluded, that we're like moving on, or like how do they do that?
They just say that that's the end of the matter. When they pass sentencing at the end, they say, "Oh well, that's your sentence. You'll be taken directly from here to whatever prison it is to carry out the rest of your sentence." And it's very anticlimactic, I'm afraid. There's no one jumping up and shouting, "It's a travesty!"
Right.
It's all very, it's all very,
Let me give you another situation. What if there's a ruckus in the courtroom?
The
there's
good
family
old-fashioned
members.
ruckus.
A ruckus. Yeah. Believe me, I've been there when there's been a ruckus, and that judge will shout. You think judges are nice little quiet old men or little old dears? I'm afraid you are mistaken. I've seen a judge stand up and scream across the courtroom to tell someone to shut up, because if you're taking the mick of the court, they're not happy. That's the Queen's court. That's why there's a crest behind you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're taking the mick of that out of the Queen's court, then you're going in the Queen's nick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, exactly.
So there you go. So there's no need for a gavel. That's why there's a surplus of gavels flying around. That's why you picked one up for so cheap.
So cheap.
I got it cheap. Yeah.
The court surplus store.
Never been touched. Never been touched.
Judicial cast-offs.
Just a load of wigs and a gavel and gavels, and that's it.
There's just a whole rail of gowns. It's a bit like TK Maxx. There's no medium. It's all like 3XL or 2XS.
So, Eric, did I hear you're on a diet currently?
Mm-hmm. As I can't get the answer out through my mouthful of high strength Welsh beer, yes, I am on a diet, Greg. I lost a stone, lost a whole stone.
That's huge. Well done.
Yeah,
Great job.
My other half was she was dieting as well, and I said, "Oh well, I'll do it with you, no problems at all." And because I'd just been put on furlough, it was like, right, okay, then crisps, chocolate, takeaways, the whole furlough shebang. Great while it lasted. Stepped on the scales and I was 13.5, and it was
wow, big boy.
Yeah, 5'11", not a good weight, Mm-hmm. So just cutting down on all of the crap, cutting out the drinking, all saturated like oven pizzas and that sort of thing, straight out the window, and in the space of 7 weeks.
Wow.
Mate, amazing. Good job. Because I haven't actually seen you I don't know how long it's been.
For a while.
So it's, that's impressive. You look good.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, especially flattering from the chin up on the screens at the moment.
It's a good shot.
I could have put it all back on, baby, and this screen is working wonders. But yeah.
Zoom is like one of those mirrors that's flattering that makes you look really slim.
But this is it. I mean, how many people... I've been speaking to some of my mates who have been on furlough, and it's either one extreme to the other. Some of them have piled it on. Some of them have gone on diets and they've lost, big amounts of weight. I mean, how have you guys been finding it?
I'm glad you asked. It's not been good.
I'll be honest with you, Jim. It's not good.
Yeah, it's real bad. Well, it's not that. I mean, I haven't actually weighed myself, but I know. You don't need to weigh yourself to know. You know. So, yeah. So the annoying thing for me was I was probably the fittest I'd been in. God, I don't know. Years, because I was training for a marathon that was supposed to happen in April, and then the marathon obviously got cancelled and moved to September, so instantly I stopped training. I was like, well, screw it, I'm not going to bother. There's no reason to run anymore. What other benefit is it other than doing a marathon? But so now I'm getting back into my training, so hopefully that will help. But I tell you what, I think I've linked my weight gain to one specific life change throughout this. So normally I'd be teaching on the go, so I'd make myself like a chicken salad or something for lunch pretty much every day. Well, now I'm at home and I'm eating, and I have been buying, I don't know if you guys know of this, I'm sure you do, but chicken and white sauce. Do you know what that is?
Like bechamel sauce?
No, so it's it kind of is like a bechamel sauce, I guess, but it's like a really creamy, maybe it is like a bechamel sauce. It's basically a pie filling.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But I've been having a can of chicken and white sauce and then a bag of like ready-made rice every day for like 3 months. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think that might be the culprit.
Yeah. Oh man, I can also see why you were so quiet now during the kebab pizza moment, because you were like, "Oh crikey, I've got to keep this one quiet, or we'll get onto the pie story."
Exactly,
You're just eating the guts of a pie for lunch every day.
Yeah, it's
Oh
bad.
man, look at yourself, man.
Cut out Fray Bentos, get straight in that bad boy.
Crust is just in the way, guys. All right, that's what I've always said.
It's just a wall you've got to climb to get to the juicy innards.
So yeah, no, it's not good. But I've realised there's a problem, and that's the first step.
Yeah.
Step 1, yeah. A fat guy's anonymous.
As I continue drinking my like calorie ridden beer. But yeah, what about you, Adam?
You know what? I'm one of these really annoying guys. I'm pretty lucky because I think I can pretty much eat and drink what I want at the moment, and like nothing changes. Really, nothing changes. I've been through times when I've been like semi like bodybuilding and like really being militant. You know, chicken, broccoli, brown rice, your classic bodybuilder diet. You know, like calorie counting, and then like doing loads of exercise, lifting loads of weight, blah blah blah. And I haven't changed. And then I've been through times when I've just been drinking loads of beer, eating KFC, blah blah blah. Again, nothing changed. So, you know, I mean, obviously you can tell, can't you? And you can tell inside, like, oh, I feel a bit cruddy. I should probably, you know, get the fitness back up or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I guess at the moment, the main thing is with us not working as much as we were. It's like the food and the drink is like an exciting part of the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You get up and you're like, oh, I can, you know, I've got a bit of time to like make a nice breakfast, or what can I cook tonight? Make a nice extravaganza of a meal, or, you know, I can mix a few new cocktails that I've never made, or open that bottle of wine I've been saving, or blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, you've had 1 trillion calories in a week or whatever, you know. Yeah. But so it's been sort of indulgence of that kind. It's not been like crappy junk food. It's been like just, you know, making a really rich pasta dish with making a homemade dessert and then some dessert wine and cheese. It's a bit, you know, it's that sort of overindulgence as opposed to the Macca's microwave indulgence. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not that makes it any better, but yeah. That's my current situation, basically. So, Eric, we got you on this podcast, aside from being a top bloke, to give us a little rundown of your specialist subject, right? Because lots of blokes, you know, including us, we have lots of subjects that we get into and get nerdy. Last week we were talking about cigars. Obviously we'd go into beer and whiskey and that sort of thing quite frequently. So how about you dive headfirst into your specialist subject? Give us a bit of a rundown.
Well, I'm one of those guys who's a bit of a military history buff. Although I've never been in the armed forces, I've just got a real fascination with 20th century history. Pretty much anything about, you know, 20th century history specifically, but anything from the last 200 years or so I just find fascinating from a military perspective. You know, why things happened, what were the consequences of things happening, what was it like for the day-to-day living of an individual in those times, and also the lessons that can be learnt from all of this sort of thing. Because it's surprising, yeah, even things 200 years ago, how much they resonate with today's society. And things you can see, well, you know, you've seen that happen before, and you think, oh, what's happening here, and all that sort of thing, and how you can move on and improve from history. Because all it is lessons of the past. You know, if you look back on your own life, you think, oh, well, there's lessons I've learned from your own activity, let's say, and history just is that as well. But what I've come to you tonight with is the countdown of my top 5 war films.
Yes, here we go.
Love it.
Bringing all of that in, you know, diluting all of that history down into 5 top films that you can sit down and watch and really enjoy. And the way I've done it, because I've seen loads of these Channel 4 programmes where it's like, you know, they count down the 100 greatest war films, and you think, well, it's probably going to be Saving Private Ryan at number 1. You know,
you always know the answers to those things.
Let's take a guess. It's either that one or, you know, one of the other classics. So I've sort of thought about it and thought, right, 5 of my favourite war films, but are all different in different ways, but are nonetheless great films.
Okay, cool. So are you going to give us number one being the best, or are they sort of all equal but great in their own right?
I would say they're all equal and great. They're just different times to watch these films. So, for example, we're going to dive right in. Number one is the best film to watch with your other half. Okay?
Right, here we go. Because that's often a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Because when you're scrolling through Netflix, like, if she sees someone in some sort of military uniform, she is vetoing that immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. These are what my other half calls boy films. Now, boy films are not like that. These are the films that you watch when she's out, not like that, but just because she doesn't want to have to watch them as well. So, the first one, I would say, very recent one, 1917. Okay.
Oh, amazing.
Really good film. The reason why I'm putting it in number one in this category is because the fast-paced nature of the film. Okay, I'm not saying that people can't cling on to films, and particularly war films, and enjoy them when it comes to like an hour and a half film, but it's so easy for a topic like this to become dry and unexciting. Whereas what 1917 does, through the cinematography and also through the soundtrack, is it keeps the watcher in a permanent state of suspense.
Yeah.
In particular, the soundtrack, I believe it's by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And it's a constant sort of building up of pressure. It's very sort of time intense, shall we say. And, my other half, when we left the cinema watching it, she said, I need to go to the loo because I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go throughout the whole film because it was that exciting.
Yeah,
and I think, well, that's the one. Sit down with someone maybe who doesn't watch these films every day, and it will hold and it will entertain.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that maybe part of that is also the way they filmed it. In fact, that there's sort of no breaks.
Yeah.
I know they were technically did do a couple of breaks, but there was only a few.
Yeah.
But they were stitched together so well. Like it was just constantly moving throughout, following these guys, or I don't want to spoil anything, but throughout the story. And pretty amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a World War I tale of two young. Were they privates or sergeants?
Yeah, privates. I think, early days.
Yeah, these two young lads who basically had a task and they had to get from point A to point B, and they encountered a whole load of incredible scenarios along the way, physical and emotional, heartwarming, distressing, exciting. It's just a powerhouse piece of cinema, basically. And like you say, people were crying next to me in the cinema. People were digging their nails into the arms of the chairs. It's just one of those roller coaster films. And like you say, it works with everyone. You don't have to be a blokey bloke to watch some shoot 'em up war film. Like this you can get the point home with suspense and emotion and those sort of things. And also, like you say, that Hans Zimmer soundtrack it's just incredible. I think was it Hans Zimmer that also did Dark Knight as well, the Batman film?
Yeah,
he uses similar techniques where you don't really realise there's any music going on.
Yeah,
but there is in the background. He uses techniques like using two violins playing the same note, just basically hammering out the same note for ages and ages, and over the course of like 5 minutes the notes get ever so slightly further apart, and though they're not technically like separate notes, the tension between those two notes that aren't quite together does something to the listener's ear, and it makes them like on edge because it's getting more and more, these two notes are getting further and further apart, and louder as well, and it just reaches this ridiculous tense crescendo, which you can obviously link with the story of the film to create some epic result, basically. And it's great choice. It's done so well in that film. Was it nominated? It must have been nominated for an Oscar, surely. If not,
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, this is the thing. I mean, so far in the year, I'm not sure, because I went to see it at the start of the year. In January, there was a run of fantastic films in the cinema, and this was just one of them. So I don't know if they've got around to the Academy Awards yet, but it's certainly tipped for glory in that respect. Honourable mentions, I'd say, go to Dunkirk. Again, everyone likes a bit of Tom Hardy. It's It's got various different stories all interwoven into one really nice film. Again, the soundtrack is, I think it's a